Welcome back to HuffPost Live. I'm Nancy Red. Alyssa Milano has been one of our favorite TV stars for a period spanning 4 decades. From Who's the Boss to Charmed to Mistresses, she's been a giant on the small screen, and she's been doing it all while also raising 2 beautiful children. It's been quite a trip, but now Alyssa's here to share with us her latest journey, a focused 6 months of weight loss with a lot of help from Atkins. Alyssa, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, it's a fun time because most of us are just starting our New Year's resolutions, right?
Right.
You got started.
I got started like 5-6 months ago.
You're on the early track.
I am, but I'm glad that I started when I started so that I didn't have to go through the holidays without some kind of plan.
Right, well, you were already chugging along.
Exactly.
Your plan, and
Exactly.
you've been working on this for a while. Actually, in last May, Alyssa tweeted this. She said, "This last 10 to 15 pounds of baby weight is a bitch." At that time, what were you trying?
I mean, I was just kind of winging it, basically. I cut a lot of carbs out, and that's how I lost most of the baby weight. And then I hit that plateau, I think, that everybody hits, and I started doing some research, and I stumbled upon Atkins, and I was sure when I started reading about them that it was going to be a lot about, red meat, because that's what you think of, I think, when you think Atkins, and I don't eat red meat, so I was like, well, this won't do anything. But lo and behold, it's just about good protein and healthy fats. So it's really worked for me, and I think the thing that has worked the most is that it's a total lifestyle. Like, you don't feel like you're depriving yourself because the food is really rich and good, but Atkins really focuses on the community. And Atkins.com has this amazing community of people that are, struggling with their weight and trying to lose, whether it be the last 10 pounds or I call it reach your happy weight. We all want to reach our happy weight, and it's great to be able to share experiences and recipes and all of that.
So how are you at your happy weight? Are you happy right now?
I'm happy. I'm very happy right now. Yeah, I would have 5 pounds more to lose if I were to go back to my pre-pregnancy weight. But I'm very happy right now. If it comes off, that's fine. If it doesn't come off, I'm content with that too. And I feel great. Well, and that's the most important thing.
Right, and here's the thing, you're a mom, you're trying to survive, and you found something that works for you, right? And the community aspect, I think, is a very unique situation because a positive surrounding can only be beneficial.
Yeah, and we can all relate to each other, like especially as women and as mothers, we can all relate to what you go through after you have a baby, and not just weight loss, but all of the changes you go through, whether it be hormonal or just adjustment time and all of that. So for me, it's really worked, and I have the same mentality about working out too. Like, I don't like to work out with a trainer one-on-one. I really prefer to be in a class environment or with my friends in a dance class. It has to be fun for me. It can't be work. like it shouldn't be work.
Well, it also has to be true, right? Because one of the great things about you is you're very vocal. You're a vocal girl, and
I try to keep it real.
You keep it quite real, which we love.
Thank you.
Here at HuffPost Live, because you're not just talking about your journey, but you're also like shutting down the haters. Because I think it's important to have both. One of the things Alyssa's spoken about is the problem with fat shaming. Because a few years ago, Jay Moore made an awful dig about her weight after this NASCAR event. And look at this picture, because you look fantastic. This is
I know,
crazy.
I wish I looked like that now.
Well, but here's the thing. This is why, when we're talking about what's going on behind it, there's so much about mentality, right? Why is it important for it to be about your journey, your personal goals, and not about someone's asshole comments?
First of all, I think that we're in like just a shaming time in general. We'll shame how people parent. We'll shame everything that we possibly can, whether it be someone's weight, whether it be that they're too skinny, whatever it is. We're just in this really kind of ugly time of knocking each other down. I'm not into it. I think it's hurtful. But more than that, like as women, we need to build each other up. And as men, I heard Patricia Arquette say the coolest thing. Actually, I was hosting the talk, co-hosting the talk, guest hosting, and she came on and she goes, "You know what? I just don't understand why I have to be sexy to every human on the planet. Like, why do I have to carry this sex appeal for everyone? I don't have to turn every man on." She goes, "All I have to do is turn my husband on." And I went, "Oh yeah, that's a great point." And I think that, like by the way, Jay Moore has been very apologetic and wonderful since then. He sent me a long letter and everything is totally cool with that. But I think with that situation.
But if you hadn't called it out, that's the thing.
Yeah, if I hadn't called it out, he would have gotten away from it.
Situations, especially celebrities, live in silence, right? Because you're afraid of being that angry chick that's complaining about someone bringing attention to something. And it's interesting, especially as a celebrity, right? Look back to the 80s. I mean, can you imagine being a teenage girl in this time when you are criticized about every aspect of yourself?
No, and it's, I think the good news about social media is it's really given people their own voice, right? Where you can call out someone for doing that and make your voice heard in a sincere way. But also it's the downside too, because everything is more accessible, right? Like in the 80s, I would have never heard that podcast where hurtful things were said. It just would have went away. But because things just live on and on and on in this world of the internet, you're confronted with things. So you have to be vocal. What are you going to do? You're going to sit there and say it's not hurtful? It's like those people that, troll your Twitter account and say mean, horrible things. It's like, oh, you're so brave sitting behind your computer. But I think people forget that there's human beings reading that and that it can be hurtful.
Right. Well, another good thing about social media is it allows places like this, HuffPost Live, to bring in big fans who can't wait to ask you questions about your journey. Right now, we have a video question from Rafaela. Take a look.
Hi, Alyssa. It's Rafaela from Brazil, and I want to know how it's being on a diet and still take care of 2 children. I love you.
All right, so we and I are in the same boat. We're on different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
We both got 2 kids.
Yeah.
She wants to know, how is it like being on a diet, taking care of yourself and putting yourself first a lot of times in these situations?
Right, I mean, that's the hardest thing when you have kids, is remembering that you have to put yourself first, because a healthy mom means healthy kids. But I have to tell you that since being on the diet, my energy level is so much better to deal with the 2 children. That it's all working together. And that's the thing about having kids, is you have to figure out how everything works together. And some days it works better than others. Some days it doesn't work at all. But you got to figure it out,
Well, Vincenzo, you're here with us. You're a big fan, and you actually want to hear about some of those difficult days, right?
Yes, ciao, Alyssa.
Hello, you're with us. We hear you.
Hello, buongiorno. I'm living in France, but I'm Italian, like you. So I wanted to know, a kids program needs big motivation and a strong help by the whole community, as you said before. And you've just reached your happy weight, so congratulations for it, because you're stunning.
Thank you.
I was wondering, have you ever had some difficult moments during this journey? And if so, how did you deal with this situation?
Yeah, so I think that when I first started to lose the baby weight, it comes off pretty quickly, and then you hit this lull and you're just like, okay. And I think that was the hardest point for me, is not really knowing what to do. But honestly, since I've gone on Atkins, I feel like that hardship is sort of past, because I feel like now I have the tools to get through with what I have to get through.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Because I think just not knowing how you're going to reach something is kind of scary. You're kind of just grasping at straws. But when you have a specific plan and you stick to it, and you realize that it's not worth it to not stick through it, I think it's a lot easier.
Absolutely. Vincenzo.
Thanks, Vincenzo. Ciao. Ciao.
I know people are joining from all around. I know you also, here's the thing, the one good thing about this, not only does she have fans around the world, but everyone's so interested in her family, including you, right?
I was wondering lately if Milo and Elisabella want to be actors or work in the show business in the future. Would you accept it? And what would be the best advice for them?
Here's the deal, is before I had kids, I would have said, nope, there's no way I'm letting them be actors. Not because it was hard for me, but just because you want your kids to have like normalcy. And my childhood definitely wasn't normal. But now having them, they really just kind of come out who they are. And I feel like a really important part of parenting is to encourage that. Encourage who they are, accept who they are, and give them every experience to sort of grow into themselves. So if they were to come to me tomorrow and say, well, they're 4 and 16 months, so I don't think they're coming to me tomorrow. But if they were to come to, who knows? I was 7 when I decided I wanted to do it.
How did that come about? What happened?
My parents took me to see the play Annie when I was 7 years old, and I looked at the stage and I said, I want to do that. And a year and a half later, I was in the Second National Touring Company.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of crazy. I always say it picked me, I didn't pick it. But if my children should pick it, you know, who better than to teach them how to stay out of trouble in this industry than me, right? I went through it all, and hopefully could guide them in whatever their life's purpose is in a way that, you know, so that they don't hurt themselves.
What do you think is the biggest tip to staying out of trouble in this industry as a child star?
I think family, it's about family no matter who you are. I think that these kids that you see go through these hardships within the industry would be going through hardships no matter where they were or what they were doing. Because it all comes down to family. You know, if you don't have 2 solid parents, if you don't have 1 solid parent, chances are a lot more likely that it's going to be hard for you.
Well, your kids
in life
are really lucky, and we love seeing them grow up because you've been vocal not just on the issue of body awareness and self-esteem, but also about not shaming breastfeeding. Okay, I want to show this great picture she posted in October. Here you are breastfeeding dressed as Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
and
it was Halloween.
It's so fantastic, right? But I've posted pictures like this before too, and you get a whole bunch of people, yay, boobs, yay, breastfeeding, but then you also get the naysayers. Are you surprised we're still having conversations like this in 2015?
Yeah, aren't you?
Right, I mean, it's
so
crazy.
crazy to me. It's so crazy to me how the mentality is so archaic where people are just not comfortable with women breastfeeding. And, you know, obviously it's because we've sexualized breasts to the point that people can't see past, you know, them being breasts. Or boobies, or titties, or whatever you want to call them.
Num-nums.
Yeah. Is that what your kids call them?
Yes, this is getting real personal.
Yeah. My daughter calls them chi-chis.
Oh, that's
She's a
so
mama chi-chi.
Oh,
It's really sweet.
That's the best. Well, you know, you harness your celebrity for such good, not just in casual posting pictures like that, but also specifically working with organizations like UNICEF, PETA. Would you put yourself, if you had to hierarchy, activist or actress, where would you place yourself?
Activist first. But honestly, those things are so cyclical because I couldn't be an activist if I wasn't an actress, because my acting career gave me the voice to affect change. So, you know, I have to give that as much credit and respect as humanly possible. But I do think that obviously motherhood is first, maybe wife is first, then motherhood, then activist. Acting's kind of low down on the totem right now. Right now, where I am in my life.
Well, you're still very high up in the minds of many fans, including
That's very
Thomas, who's here with us, who has a question, right?
Yes, I do. I am from the Netherlands and a little bit nervous, so I'm sorry.
I'm nervous too.
Oh, great. Okay, so when you look back at your charm period, what is the greatest memory you had from being on the show, and what do you miss the most about it?
I miss everything about it. Honestly, I miss the camaraderie. And when you work on a show for 8 years, you become really close with everyone. And in fact, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to do another Charmed reunion at my house. I bring all the crew members in, and we have lunch or a meal together and sort of catch up. And I've done 2 so far. This will be the 3rd. And you know, that closeness is something that it just works. Wow. It's like lightning in a bottle. And every day I went to work very, very, very happy. And what a fun job. I mean, I got to wear all sorts of wigs and be also, you know, a genie, a banshee, you know, a mermaid. And I do miss that aspect of like just the creative outlet of being able to go on to a set and just be wacky and fun and not self-conscious and know that the fans will love it. We have the most loyal fans ever, and I really appreciate them and they kept us on for 8 years.
I know, it's crazy.
We moved nights. It was
Didn't matter.
Didn't matter. They
Didn't
found
matter.
us and they hung in there. And I actually have said a couple of times that I think when the show was canceled, if social media was around then, they probably would have kept it on the air. The fans would have kept it on the air.
Well, it's so interesting to see so many voices come from there, not just yours, but also your co-star Rose McGowan, right? One of the most outspoken people in Hollywood.
Love what she's doing right now.
Absolutely. She's talking so much on gender rights issues. She said she was fired by her agent for speaking out against sexism. Right here we have it. Now, when you were working together, did you see these elements of her becoming an activist?
Oh, yeah. She was always an activist.
Yeah.
And you know what was great about Rose is Rose has not changed a single day since the first time I have met her. She is who she is. She owns up to everything that she's about. And I love that she's using her voice right now and her artistry. And it's been really a pleasure to watch her become so brave and do these things. Because, mind you, it's not just about my industry.
Right.
It happens everywhere.
Well, we saw that with the California Fair Pay Act. It's not just about entertainment, though Hollywood did help to influence this.
Yes. Well, yes. But I have to say that when you look at someone in the industry and they're using the voice for gender equality, Rose isn't doing it for our industry. She's not doing it for like the writers and directors and the actresses in the world. She's doing it for women everywhere. And I love that. I love it. I think she's just amazing. And she's so smart and quick as a whip. So for her, I really think it's utilizing a part of herself that acting doesn't give her.
Well, you know all about that. You utilize the pod parts of yourself, especially in the political arena. We've been seeing you talk about how you're feeling the burn.
I am feeling the burn.
Talk to us about this aspect of Alyssa Milano.
I mean, here's the interesting thing is I've always been very politically active. Once I had my kids, though, I became super disenchanted with the world and with the political system. I mean, I really just am disgusted by where we are right now in the political system. I think that we pin everyone against each other, and it's just creating this really hostile planet and world, and it's upsetting to me, and it's upsetting that I'm raising kids in this time. And when I had kids, like in my 20s, I could say that, and I would actually go out there and fight the fight. But now I look at my kids, and an interesting thing happened, which is I went kind of the opposite way, which is, well, the only thing that I can really control because of the amount of corruption that's in the world, is these two beautiful souls. And how can I make their world better, and in turn, the world a better place by the little gestures that they do every day. So my focus became a lot more on, just an intimate scale than a political scale. And I kind of feel like, I just can't with any of these candidates. I can't even, it makes me sick to my stomach, all of it. But Bernie, I feel like, is just a really honest, cool dude. He doesn't seem like a politician. He doesn't seem too polished, too rehearsed. I think his intentions are really pure. And I think we need someone with pure intention.
Well, do you feel if Clinton gets the nomination, would you support her?
Yeah, especially if it's against Trump.
Well, in the light of all
Can't wait to get these comments now from Twitter.
Oh. Well, hey, look, this is nothing you wouldn't put on your Twitter feed anyway.
No, it's nothing I wouldn't put on my Twitter.
And then, we're seeing so much back and forth about gun control, and then we have Obama's executive action. Do you feel that that's far enough? I mean, so many people are just like,
I think it's a step. Yeah, we got to take steps towards this. And I think that, look, nobody's trying to take away anyone's guns who got them legally and who are sane human beings. I don't want to take a sane human being's gun who went through a legal process away from him. I think you have a right to bear arms if you're, go through a process of getting a license that's more extensive than, going to a gun show and filing for it. It's just all weird to me.
Isn't it interesting how so often saying things that come out of a politician's mouth, they're taken as less credible than out of a celebrity's mouth? Do you find that you have
No,
more
actually,
influence?
no. I think people go, oh, you're a celebrity. You should just stick to acting.
Oh, really?
Which I'm not running for office. I'm just making my opinion known, and we're all entitled to that. And we're all entitled to voice that. I want my kids to not have to do a drill at school. My 4-year-old has to do a drill in school in case a bad guy comes in with a gun. He's 4 years old, and I just think that that's just a horrifying world.
His school actually does a drill. He's already cognizant of the fact at 4 years old, because I have a 4-year-old too, that a bad guy might come into their school.
And this is
with
what
a
you
gun.
do if that happens. Yep, you go into the bathroom, you shut the door, and you're very quiet.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot, and it's scary. And we need to do something. We need to do something. We can't just keep it the way it is now.
We do, and things have changed. I mean, we've been following you, like we said, for nearly 4 decades, which sounds like a lot. But again, you started
So
this.
old.
No, you started really, really young. So
Still 4 decades.
you actually started in the womb.
Yes, exactly. I was mic'd in the womb.
But your voice does matter, and it does have an impression not just on regular people, but also in celebrities. Because for those of you who don't remember, America, and as we can see from our guests, the world fell in love with Alyssa when she was on Who's the Boss. And last year was a big year for Danny Pintaro, who played Jonathan in the series, when he revealed that he is HIV positive. Now, Alyssa was actually on The Talk that very day and got very emotional about it in October. I actually spoke to Danny about whether he'd expected that, and this is some of what he said.
We were like brother and sister on the show, you know, like older sister, younger brother, just like, you know, they don't want to have anything to do with each other. It's like slamming the door, go away, you're being annoying. And so our relationship wasn't as strong as my relationship with Tony and Judith. They were literally my second parents. So it was Alyssa who I lost touch with the first. And, you know, so I didn't know what to expect from her. I knew that she'd be supportive because that's who she is. I just didn't know she would be that affected. And we've been talking so much since then. She's been Twittering about me all the time. And she is my everything right now. She's killing me with all of her love and support.
See, once family, always family.
You know what's so crazy though is that we were when Who's the Boss ended, I was 19, so I don't even know what year that was, and we didn't have social media or texting or cell phones even to really keep in touch. So the process would have been like me calling the house and being like, "Hey, is Danny there?" You know, it's just a different time. It's so much easier now for people to stay in touch and keep connected. So yeah, we drifted apart, not for any other reason than we just stopped doing the show. Yeah, that was a hard thing to hear. You know what? It wasn't only to hear that he was HIV positive, because you know I know a lot of HIV positive people that have lived wonderful, full, healthy lives and long lives. It wasn't so much that as it was to know he struggled with the drugs. I think that affected me more than anything, because that is something that he needed some mental strength, and I felt like, wow, maybe I could have been there for him.
Especially as a mother, you're just like, oh, I missed the signs. Oh, maybe I should have reached out.
Yeah,
I should have found that phone
yeah.
number.
Like I just had no idea that he was going through that personal struggle, and that was the hardest thing to hear, I think, even more so than him being HIV positive.
Well, and going back to what you said earlier about, you know, creating a stable family, it's why you have rearranged the roles in your life, right? Like actress is probably lower on the totem pole. You put, you know, wife, children,
Yeah.
mother, activist, and looped in there, you make choices. Like, for example, with Mistresses, you chose to leave when the show relocated to Vancouver, right? They're coming back to
That's what I
Los
hear.
Angeles.
Yeah.
Any chance we'll be?
I mean, I don't
See you joining
know. They have not approached me about that. I am at a very different point in my life now than when I first signed on to do that show. So, I mean, the situation would have to really, really be ideal for me to leave my kids. So, I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, but I don't know if it's the right thing for me at this time.
Well, there are plenty of right things for you at this time that keep growing. And we have another video question from Flary, who wants to know about the past. Take a look.
Hello Alyssa, I'm Flary from Greece, and I want to ask you which role that you rejected or didn't play do you regret the most?
Let me think. I don't think there's been one that I have rejected, but I did get close on a movie that I really, really wanted to get when I was a kid that Winona Ryder actually got, which was Beetlejuice. It was between the two of us. And she actually got the part. And I always wonder, like, what would have been different?
What were the notes? What were the notes they gave you as to how it went to her instead of
Oh,
you?
I don't know. I was so little that, like, you never listen to, like, the negative things. You just hear, oh, you didn't get it. You know, someone else got it. Which was hard enough, by the way, with not hearing specifically what they didn't like about me. But, you know, you always wonder, well, you know, what would have happened differently in my life had that actually worked out. Not that I would want it to be any different, but it's just an interesting thought game to play with yourself.
A possible romance with Johnny Depp.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been too bad.
Well, here's the thing. Like we said before, 2016, most people are working on their health and fitness resolutions. You've already gotten that down pat with Atkins. What do you think 2016 has in store for you?
I think, you know, that striving for balance. I'm really hoping to have some of that happen. There's a lot of creative things that I am working on and developing that hopefully will come into fruition. But just, you know, the most important thing to me is to feel fulfilled. And I think that means different things at different points. And whatever that means to me at the moment, I hope it comes to me.
Well, we hope it does too.
Thank
and we
you.
can't wait to talk with you more about it when it does.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for your time.
Now, all of you can find out more information on Alyssa's journey on Atkins in our resource well below this video screen. Up next, Josh Jeffs talks to a comedian, Michael Ian Black.